All right, welcome everybody. We're going to use a yoga strap today and we'll get into the shoulders, but also the hips and then open the chest. And any other props that my cat's behind me, any other props that you like to have close by, you'll grab those as well. And we're gonna go ahead and start in a comfortable seat. And it's about 100 degrees outside where I am, and we're going to focus on a cooling breath because yin is cooling in nature. Specifically, how we're going to breathe today is emphasis on the exhale, a longer, slower, fuller exhale. So we can start that breath right now. You'll inhale fully in through your nose, fill up. Softly hold the breath for a moment. Exhale all the air out through the mouth. We'll do that again. Inhale in through the nose, fill up. Hold for a moment. Exhale, let it all go. Once more, inhale fully. Hold. And exhale out. And we'll start to breathe in a gradual way, inhaling fully with that little pause moment, and exhale out through your lips like you're exhaling out through a straw. And we'll do that twice more. Inhale in through the nose. And exhale out through your straw. Last one, inhale. And exhale. So that's can be a really nice resource if you're feeling like your brain's a little active today, focusing on that longer exhale. So we'll go ahead and start. We're going to stay seated. So have your strap close by, but let's undo our legs for a moment from that seat. You can take your hands back and just do a little windshield wiper if you like. And then after you feel like those hips are kind of relaxed, then we'll come back and you'll grab your strap. We're going to grab it rather wide. And if you don't have a strap at home, you can just like hold an invisible strap, and it really surprisingly works really well too. So you're going to grab your strap wider than the width of your knees when you're seated cross-legged, and maybe even wider beyond that. But we're going to see what it feels like to take the arms back behind us, the strap behind us and down with straight arms. And what you want to get is some sort of a chest, shoulder opener as a result. And you can decide if you want a little less resistance or a little more resistance. So if you want to make it more challenging of a stretch, you walk your hands a little closer in towards one another, and that will change it immensely. If that's feeling too rigid, you could go a little wider with your arms, and that will decrease the intensity. So you can kind of navigate this the way you like. The main thing is we want to keep our head over our spine. We don't want to jut our head forward as we move the strap back, because that's kind of compensating. So we'll do 4 more of these. Ooh. There might be all kinds of pops and snaps and cracks. And we'll do 1 more here. Then we'll just take a moment and mellow, let the arms rest, and notice what shifted in that shoulder joint or chest. And then we'll take our strap about as wide as the width of our knees this time. You'll take the arms up. We're going to move a bit side to side. So keeping both sitting bones rooted down. Just a nice little yawning of our rib cage. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend. And side bending. Just finding that nice rhythm of our breath matching the movement. Do 1 more each side. And then you'll come back to center and just pause again, check in with your body. We'll do one more thing. Well, we'll do many things with the strap today, but we'll do one more thing here. So now you're gonna grab in a little closer about the width of your shoulders. And then you'll hold the strap just behind your head. So it's like touching your hair. And you're gonna tear the band apart from east to west. And this is pretty active. You're gonna keep tearing it apart as you straighten the arms up and then as you bend the elbows wide. And if this feels like all you notice or your shoulders are shrugging up by your ears and you can't get them to drop, take the hands distance a bit wider. That'll give you more room to keep those shoulders drop down. So let's take 4 more of these. And last one. Nice. And then we'll probably sit up and do more things with the shoulders later, but let's go ahead and lie on our back next. We'll bring our strap with us. We're going to do single leg hamstring stretches next. Since you're lying down, consider a prop behind your head, like a pillow or a blanket, something to help support you so your neck and shoulders stay relaxed. So I'm going to take my blanket at the back of my mat for my head, and then we'll lie down. I'll just pause for a moment here before we move on and feel the earth underneath your body lifting up to hold you. You might have the soles of your feet on the ground or legs long. And just checking in with yourself here. Maybe the floor feels cool under your body. Maybe your body starts to broaden across the floor like a puddle of water spreading out. Let's take 3 of those cooling breaths again before we get moving. Inhale, fill up. Exhale out through your lips. We'll do that twice more. Inhale. Exhale out through the lips. And last one, inhale. And exhale. So we're going to do a little pre-test, and then we'll do our yin stretches, and then we'll do a post-test. So we get to kind of feel maybe how the hips shift from our yin. So while we're on our back right now, let's come into butterfly pose, reclined butterfly, just for a moment. Now, for any reason this irritates your low back, you could always put blocks or props under your knees. We're just going to feel the level of stretch. So most of us will feel the inner thighs or the hip flexors or both. Just notice what you feel here. Just kind of taking note. Noticing the level of tension or relaxation in this pose. See if you can breathe all the way down into your belly. 3 breaths here. Let your belly expand as you inhale. Belly releases as you exhale. 2 more like that. All right, so this, we're just taking note of our reclined butterfly. We have an idea of what it feels like before, and so then we're going to do some things and then revisit this again, see if it changes. So you can go ahead and carefully guide your legs back up so the knees point up to the ceiling. We're going to take our strap around the right foot, and you'll hold that strap in your hand with your right leg straight up. And then I like to rest my elbows, upper arms on the floor, but we'll bend and straighten that right leg a little bit. So you're feeling into the back of that right leg. Just kind of finding your level of stretch. You don't have to straighten the leg all the way here. And in fact, I encourage you to keep at least like a micro bend in the knee at all times for this next one. We are going to hold the leg up to stay. And so typically we want our foot stacked right over the hip. So that means the leg is perpendicular to the floor. instead of the foot kind of falling towards the face. We don't want to collapse the leg that way. And then you'll work the strap on the ball of the foot and we'll pull straight down on the strap as if to help flex our foot more, but that will also plug our thigh bone further back in the socket. And you can stay right here with your left foot on the floor or extend your left leg long. It'll be a bit deeper with both legs straight. And this is our yin pose. So meaning we'll stay here marinating for a bit of time. So see if you can unclench your hands and jaw and shoulders just a little bit more. You don't have to hold as firm of a grip in your palms than you might think here. And the more relaxed our hands are, the more those shoulders are encouraged to unclench. Feel as if the back of your hips are a puddle of water, broadening wide against the floor. Your surface contacts, everything touching the floor. You're spreading out and rooting down into all of your surface contacts. We'll be here for 10 more breaths. I invite you to take those long, slow exhalations as you feel called to this remainder of time. Okay, we're going to take a slight variation while we're already here. You're going to gather both of your straps in your right hand, and then I also like to collect the other end of my strap in my left hand as well. So I have both hands helping me navigate this next one. And then you're going to point your right toes out to the right. You'll start to lower your right leg off to the side. Now I have a window right here, so that's just where my leg is going to rest. But you can, and I also can move out a little bit. We want to take our right elbow, press it into the floor. So the elbow serves as a kickstand to hold your leg here. We'll hang out here. We're trying to get into our inner thigh in this next one. We'll take one more breath here. And then very briefly, one more place to go next. We're going to bring our leg up. We're going to move the leg just a few inches over to the left side of the room, but you still want to keep your right hip down and heavy. So I like to hold my right hip with my right hand, literally push the hip bone down. And then from there, you can grow that right leg straighter, kind of pressing through the ball of the foot into the strap to give you more of that, kind of the outside of the leg, or kind of a bit more of that hamstring stretch too. Just be here for a little bit longer and then we'll rest our hands. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, return the leg back, remove your strap altogether, pause, check in with your body. Just feel there's flow of energy moving out and down that right leg, maybe energy encircling that right hip or emptying out through the sole of your foot. Maybe one leg feels and even appears longer than the other leg. And then we'll do that butterfly just for a moment, just because there's probably like a lopsided feeling here. Just check in with that. Notice how you feel in this butterfly. Notice the right half, notice the left half. And then we'll carefully close our legs together like you're closing a book. And we'll do all that again on the left side. So we'll take the ball, the strap around the ball of the foot. And first it's a straightening and a bending. Is really important to coax a little space in the leg before we just stay and hold this. And then you'll hold it up. And from there, we want to pull down, directly down on the strap. And that'll create more sensation of a stretch. You know, the straighter the leg as well will make this deeper. Feel your thigh bone dropping down into the pelvis. And you can either elongate your right leg on the floor or leave the knee bent. Then check out your arms. We want path of least resistance. So that might mean lowering your elbows to the ground, maybe moving your head around, making sure the neck is disengaged. We'll take about 10 breaths here, or actually a little more than 10 breaths. Letting your breath be smooth and sort of rounded almost, full. We'll take a few more breaths here. And then we'll take both of the straps, gather them together, and both hands can hold the straps. Definitely you want your left hand to hold the strap for sure, at least. Turn your left toes out to the left, start to drop your leg about halfway down to the floor. Your left elbow will press onto the floor like a kickstand, supporting that leg. We'll be here, noticing that inner thigh stretching. You can flex your foot, straighten your leg more to get more out of it. We do want to keep both hips level with the floor. So your pelvis, want to be clear that it's not tilting to one side, but sort of neutral, sort of steady in the middle of your mat here. Let's take one more breath. And then as you exhale, bring the leg up. We have one more direction to go with this leg. We're going to take that same leg, this time across the body, 3 inches or so. Hold your left hip down with your left hand, and then flex through that left foot. Lengthen behind the knee. Feel the back of the hip heavy. And checking in with your shoulders. We've been holding this strap a lot, so you might start to feel a little extra effort in your shoulders. And if you're feeling that, don't worry, we're going to take care of it later, but just see if you can soften for these last 5 breaths. Let's take one more inhale. And as you exhale, we'll return that leg back. You'll remove the strap altogether. Pause here, legs long, check in with your body. Feel whatever energy you can feel. Notice it moving and watch the movement. Where does it go? Does it move out of the sole of your foot? Does it move kind of in a diagonal across you, across your body? Is it sort of concentrated and pulsating in one area? And then we'll revisit that butterfly pose and just see how it's kind of shifted from this short time of working on the legs. Maybe there's just a feeling of spaciousness or like a widening feeling in the body. And then after you notice that, you'll take your right knee and you'll sweep it all the way across your body. You're gonna roll your whole body to one side and then press yourself up, and we're gonna get back into the shoulders. We're gonna be seated, so you might sit on a prop because we will be here for a moment. So if you have tight hip flexors today, definitely grab a prop. So we're gonna take our arms and like goalpost arms, and you can spread your hands wide as you like. And then we'll see if you can bring your palms together, but see if it's available to also bring your inner elbows together. So sometimes that's not possible, but do the best you can. Bring your elbows as close together as you can. And you're gonna press into your arms. And you're going to keep pressing as you lift the forearms down, up and down. So it's kind of a lot of work. We want to press into our arms while moving them up and down. Keeping the shoulders down. It's going to feel very humbling, like there's no range hardly. Let's do 2 more here. And last one. And then just feel what that did in your body. All right, and then we'll revisit that, but this time, you could stick with holding the arms together. If you're able to coil for eagle arms, you can try that on. You're gonna take your right arm under your left arm and you wanna hook at your elbows. And then you can either press the backs of your hands into one another, and that'll be that same pressure in the arms, or you could coil your arms again and the inner arms can press into one another. And so we want a lot of arms pressing actively into one another, and then you'll move again, you'll raise the arms up and down. And you can kind of move your spine with it. You'll round your spine as you press the elbows down. You'll lift your heart up and back as you raise the elbows up. And we'll just continue that little cat-cow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This will be your last one. The next time you lift up, stay mostly up. So feel how your spine is long and tall, and then start to press your arms down, separate from your spine moving, and then lift the base of your skull up. So the arms are down, the head is reaching up. And then you can move your head around, maybe Tilt one ear to one shoulder. Check out your neck, see if it's a little bit gripped. I'm going to disengage it. And then we're simply holding this pose. See if you can even breathe in between your shoulder blades. So let's deepen this even further. So we're already pressing the arms down. So that's the first direction these arms are going to be. But next we're going to bring your arms forward. Like there's a magnet in front of you and your arms are metal. You're going to stretch your arms to the front wall. And then the last little direction we'll move is up, and it's the tips of your elbows will start to migrate also towards the wall, like they're kind of pointing, they're trying to point up to the ceiling. And then we'll breathe in between those shoulder blades. Easy jaw, relaxed forehead, 3 more breaths. Take an inhale, fill up, hold for a moment, exhale out through your lips, and then release your arms. And just check in with yourself, notice what that did in your body. Maybe there's a little bit of space that opened up in your upper back, or maybe there's more room to breathe. And we'll do all that again. So again, you can come back to both forearms, touching, palms touching, and kind of move up and down. Or follow along with eagle, take your left arm under your right arm. You want your elbows to hook and then choose either backs of the hands touch or inner hands and arms touch. And then we'll just move the arms only right now. So we're just kind of feeling that range. And then you can add some cat-cow to it. So as your elbows lift your chest, inhale, exhale, round. Inhale, lifting up, and maybe slow it down just like a little bit slower than you might normally, and you might get more space by way of your breath. One more time, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. And then this time you'll stack up nice and tall through your spine. The arms are going to first press down. Arms down, base of the skull lifts up, back of the neck long. So that's the first direction, down. We're going to keep down, and then you'll draw your arms forward across the room. And then lastly, you'll pivot the tips of your elbows up. So what that feels like is as if I put a hook under your elbows and it had inflatable balloons. It would pull your elbows forward and up. And then breathe in between those shoulder blades, maybe move your head around. Feel all around in there. And then when you feel open in your neck, you'll just pause. We'll take let's take 10 breaths here. Last 3 breaths. Inhale, fill up. Hold for a moment. Exhale, let it all go, and then release your arms, and then just check in. Feel what opened up, what space has been created. We're going to set up for pigeon pose next. I recommend a prop that you can rest your belly or your glute or your head on. Something bulkier is nice. So I'm just going to use my bolster because it's out and it's really comfortable. But if you have something smaller, you can use it the same way. It just wouldn't cover as much of your body. So go ahead and come to hands and knees. Please pad under your knees with a blanket if you're on a hard surface. And from hands and knees, we'll start with that right knee forward. You'll slide your right knee just behind your right wrist. Whatever prop you're using, you'll have it in front of you. Sweep your right foot all the way across, and then just start to crawl your left leg back. So you're getting some space through the front of that left hip. And then you want to look back and make sure your foot is pointed straight back, but the leg isn't kind of off to the side on the mat, but it's straight back. And then we'll find our prop. And so if you don't have anything really bulky, you could just come down to your forearms. This is, you could do this without props. Or you can take your prop on your torso, hug it in, and then round in. You can have one cheek on your prop or forehead down. I'll let you know when we're halfway through, so you can turn your head in the opposite direction if your head is turned to one side. Let your shoulders mellow, let your body mellow here. And this one in particular, it's easy to feel like a busy mind because this can be such a sensational feeling. A lot of stretch happening at once. So you can use that breath, that long, slow exhale out through your lips in particular will help kind of cool your jets or calm your mind a little bit here as this can get things going. Let's see if your breath can make space in your body. Notice where it goes to create space. So that could be widening your sitting bones from east to west as you inhale, or widening your low back as you inhale. And as you exhale, allow your bones to rest on the ground. We're about halfway there, so you can turn your head if it's to one side. Go ahead and slowly press our torso up, and we'll make our way to a neutral position. That could be on your belly, on your back. Some people love downward dog. You could do that, but it's a little too active for me today. We'll just take a moment and check in with ourselves. Notice what is moving on the inside. What is shifting in this moment? And then after you take note of the two hips, the two legs, kind of noticing the variations of the two, we'll move on to prepare for the second side. So again, and like always, I always say these in all my classes, but if you ever need to just take recline pigeon on your back, you'll do that instead if that serves your knees better. Otherwise, we're going to roll over to the side, come back up to hands and knees. And well, this time it'll be the left knee out in front. So we'll bring our left knee behind the wrist, slide the left foot across the mat, and then start to crawl that right leg back. And then you'll find your whatever prop you've got. And then fold in. And check in with your shoulders, make sure they're sort of this softer, soft and wide feeling. And we'll be here. We're about halfway there, so you can turn your head in the opposite direction if it is to one side. Slowly press ourselves back up, and then you can shift off to one side, maybe lie on your back or on your belly. While you're doing that, I'm just going to check something really quick, I think. Get this. And then after you check in with both sides of your body, noticing maybe there's a sense of balance here, just equal awakeness in your hips and legs, we're going to come back up to seated. We're going to address our hips in a different way, really more quads, which very much influences the hip flexors. So you're going to have your legs straight out in front of you, legs long. And you might sit on a prop, but let's just kind of begin propless. You're going to lean to your left sitting bone and then bend your right knee, and then take your right foot all the way back. So the top of your foot is on the floor. This is where I definitely recommend propping a blanket under at least your foot, because it can be a little harsh on a hard floor. And so you're going to be a little bit off kilter here. You're going to kind of not be as level in your seat. You want to be able to sit up upright. And if you really cannot find that upright lift, this is where you'd employ a prop. You take a prop under both sitting bones, and that'll elevate you just enough to stay lifted. So this is half saddle pose. The foot is just to the outside of the hip. And then you can stay upright, which is kind of lift up through your spine. And this might be just enough stretch. You might feel a lot of compression in your knee, maybe something in your hip or quad, top of the ankle. Kind of knee and ankle, I think, is more sensation than anything. If you need more sensation, and this might take a minute, you may not go right back into this one version, but you kind of would migrate back, lean back into your hands. The next level from there, and this is whenever you feel called to do this, you don't have to do all this right away. Hands behind you, you want to go further than that, you could then stick your elbows on the prop or even elbows on the floor. Yeah, and we'll be here for a little bit of time, so make whatever adjustments you need. So what I like to do is I like to go deep, and then I like to back off from that deep place, because sometimes it starts to get really intense really fast. Again, finding that exhale out through your lips. Slow and deep can be really, really helpful. And it might help you release more. Like you can visualize whatever's in you that's tense, that's held, it's exiting through your lips. Be here for a couple more minutes. And so you can decide whenever you feel like to go deeper into the stretch or out of it or stay exactly where you are these last couple of minutes. If you want to go deeper, another way too as well, assuming your hands or your elbows are back behind you, you can take the sole of your left foot to the floor and kind of push into the floor. That'll help level out your pelvis a little bit more. It will make it a little deeper release also. We'll be here for 10 more breaths. We'll take one more breath together. Inhale fully. And then as you exhale, you'll come out of this gradually. So if the left knee's bent, you'll extend the left leg. You'll lean away from your right leg and just kind of extend it out. And then you can do whatever you like here. You could just sit or you could just kind of lean back. Feel the blood flowing back to that right leg. Feel how it's kind of, that circulation is moving through you again. Nourishing those tissues. And then we'll do the other side. All right, and so it's very common for one leg to be tighter than the other here because we are mainly stretching the quads and lower legs. So legs are together, we'll lean to the right sitting bone, bend the left knee, take the top of the left foot behind you, just to the outside of your left hip. And then just kind of check in and see, this is a little bit of core for you to sit up tall, because the sitting bones will be a little lopsided on the mat now. So you can decide if you want to stay here, or would it be more comfortable to sit on a prop? Always more comfortable to sit on a prop here. So if you need that, grab that. And then we'll hang out here. And then when you feel called to, when it starts to feel like there's more space in your body, then you might start to drift back. Then you might take your hands to the floor a little bit back. Then maybe you take your hands a little further back. And then maybe one elbow to the prop, maybe both elbows to the prop. Maybe no prop, maybe elbows on the floor eventually. But you want to take it step by step. We're not in a hurry. We're going to be here for a few minutes. So you have time to gradually drift back. So what we're doing in yin, and especially here, is the squeeze and soak method. So you can feel these joints being compressed. Things in this left leg is especially getting squeezed. Later, when you come out of the pose, those areas of squeeze will rehydrate quite a bit. And that's what makes it nourishing for the joints and the tissues. We'll be here for another minute and a half, 2 more minutes, so please adjust as you like. If you want to add that right foot to the floor like you did on the first side, if you did it on the first side, consider doing it again here. Really push into the ground to give you that kind of extra little oomph of sensation. We'll take about 10 more breaths here. Take one more breath here. Inhale fully. And as you exhale, we'll come out of this slowly. So you can straighten the right leg if you bent it, and then lean over to one side and either just lay back on your arms, or you could sit up. Just kind of let that flow happen throughout your leg. Experience in real time flowing energy. Just kind of see if you can feel that. It might be like warmth going down one leg or out your foot. All right, and then we will lie all the way down. You can lie flat on your back, maybe put a blanket or prop under your head if needed. We'll gather our knees and all the way into the chest and squeeze. And then just take a little moment to rock across the sacrum and low back against the floor. Kind of feeling Mother Earth lifting up to support us again. We can widen our back into that support. And then lastly, we'll come into our final pose, Shavasana. And any way you like. I always encourage props under the knees, props under the head, but you can do legs up the wall or anything that you need for comfort. We'll take this time to receive rest. Shavasana. We'll start to gradually make our way out of Shavasana, whatever way that feels natural, gradual. So that could just be full body stretch, yawning, and circling the wrists and ankles, and eventually rolling over to one side with your knees bent. And we'll make our way up to a seat, and we'll just take this time to come back around full circle and observe our breath. We'll take 3 of those breaths at the top of our mat seated. So taking an inhale in through the nose, hold for a moment, softly your breath. Exhale out through pursed lips. Again, inhale fully. Hold at the top. Exhale, pursed lips. Last one, inhale, fill up. Hold. Exhale. We'll bring our hands together at our heart and bow. The thinking mind to the caring heart. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your practice. It is truly an honor to serve you. Ashe.